I was doing everything subconsciously that was pushing my husband in the very opposite direction of me.
Even when I was sharing just like my joy, he would just look like bored out of his mind, or he would like dismiss me, and it was very hurtful. And for the very long time, I felt very alone.
What I had learned that, it's all about the husband, it's all about the kids. A good wife is supposed to sacrifice and for the kids, for the husband, and your desires are not as important.
If you're anything like I was, this probably isn't the first year you've wished your marriage felt closer, lighter, or just easier. I resolved to fix my marriage year after year because I was so upset that my husband wasn't paying attention to me, didn't seem to care about anything around the house, and he was more interested in watching reruns on TV than spending time with me. But of course, I had no idea how to fix any of those things except trying harder, which only made me exhausted. But I've learned something since those bad old days. It's simple, but it changed everything for me and for thousands of women on our campus. You can't have what you want until you know what you want. That sounds obvious, I know, but I spent years thinking about what I didn't want, the fights I didn't want, the loneliness I didn't want, the distance I didn't want. And guess what grew? Exactly those things. So here we are in a brand new year, and I want to ask you something important. Do you have a vision for your marriage in 2026? Not a list of what you wish your husband would stop doing, not a vague hope that things might somehow get better. I'm talking about your vision, the experience you want to have, how you want to feel in your relationship. And I want to take that one step further today because around here, we're all about dreaming big. What if, stay with me here, what if you didn't just wish for a better marriage? What if you created an irresistible marriage? A marriage that feels magnetic and comforting and playful and deeply connected. A marriage that draws you in. A marriage that you love being in. And if you're thinking, Laura, I don't even know what that would look like for me. Well, then you're in the right place because vision grows from inspiration, and you're about to hear some today. Recently, my coaches told me how their marriages became irresistible from using the 6 intimacy skills, and their experiences blew me away. And today, I'm sharing some of those stories with you. As you listen, I invite you to think about what resonates with you. What lights you up? What makes you think, yes, I want that? Well, here we go.
Inga's here. Inga.
Hi, Laura. I'm so excited. Such beautiful stories. Yeah, mine is an incredible transformation because, I think the biggest fallout in our marriage was because of my fear of my husband's drinking. And it caused a lot, like that fear caused a lot of control. And I would be on his paper and was like, don't you understand? And I would tell him, and then I would bring forward all the research and scientific evidence and try and teach and tell and all these things. And he was never listening to me. And it kind of created this air of him becoming like really shut down to my ideas altogether. Like altogether, when I was sharing just like my joy of discovering a new diet or whatever, he would just look like bored out of his mind, or he would like dismiss me and it's all business and like find a way to make me wrong. And it was very hurtful. And for the very long time, I felt very alone, right? Like learning to relinquish control on his paper and then feeling so hurt that he is not willing to even listen to me. And he's even more so making those ways, like finding those ways to make me wrong. And I kind of, I didn't want to share with him either, right? Like I listened to an exciting podcast, which I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But then I'm like, share with my husband? Nah. It's just not worth it. And for a while I thought, oh, like it's maybe possible that it's, I can't expect everything from my husband and like share everything with me. So just go share with my friends who are willing to listen. But that sting of that disconnection is like, I can't talk to my husband. And so I've been relinquishing control and learning to let go of judgment because he continues making his own choices and it's tough, right? And I'm on this huge journey where in the middle it kind of sometimes like how I learned to let go judgment. I created this spouse fulfilling prophecy that he's competent and capable, and he's on his journey, and he needs every step of his journey, right? And like things like he's sitting across of me and and sharing, oh, I'm wondering if I'll drink a lot of wine or like a lot of vodka, maybe I get sick of it and never want to drink it again. And I'm okay, adding to my list. He's figuring it out. He's competent, capable, needs every step of his journey, like just adding to the list and just chuckling to myself. And there were so many of those examples. And so so fast forward yesterday. And I think it's kind of adorable. I was thinking about it. I think people in the village might be envying us because we're that couple who walks the dog together always. Right? Not so many couples walk their dogs together. And so we're on a walk with the dog, and I'm sharing, like, it's not the first time. I'm sharing about my own health journey and telling him how I find really attractive this idea of ketogenic diet and what does it mean, and just going in. And it was like, and I find my husband listening, and he's listening. And he's just, and he's even asking a question. And I'm like, oh, who is this guy? And so eventually, as the walk goes, like at the end, like I say that, like, it feels like the right fit for me. I think I want to experiment with that. And I would just really love to go on a 2-month diet, like practice this diet for 2 full months and just try and do it. And he's okay. Well, we have a lot of meat in our fridge. And what does it mean? What else does it mean? And I made a list of those, what it entails. And today the lady came, the lady who helps with the cooking. And I look at my husband and he's like, okay, these are all the ingredients and nothing else can go in or nothing extra can be added. And these are the fats and these are the meats and these are the whatever, all the ingredients. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, and these are the glass boxes, by the way, where you need to put it away in the fridge. And he just like goes like, we want that food to be prepped in advance. So during the week, she just can come and pick whatever she wants to assemble. I'm like, I was just like in disbelief, just sitting there and receiving all of that. I was so moved. I never thought it's going to be possible, and I felt so incredibly connected. And who knows, maybe he will join me on that diet. Who knows? But like, I'm relinquishing control of that.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
Oh my gosh. So from a guy who just wouldn't even give you the time of day to hear about something you were excited about to, first of all, you guys walk the dogs together, which makes you the envy of the whole village. And then
So.
he was not like, yeah, he was, yeah. I mean, I felt it. Yeah, I like that. Like, they're like, oh, look at that sweet couple. They're always walking the dog together. People are saying that, I'm sure. But anyway, and then he not only is listening, he's asking questions, he's studying to find out how he can make this happen for you. And then and you have a chef too. I have a chef. You have a chef. So that's pretty cool. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I kind of like that. And then he implemented it for you. He made sure heard your desire and made sure you got what you wanted. And you felt so special and protected and seen and heard and understood, loved. And it was intimate and connected. Irresistible, Inga. I love it. Wow, what a great story. What a big transformation.
Oh, thanks.
Great job. Love it. Very inspiring. All right. Brenda's here.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I was just thinking about when we were first married, and I remember telling my husband, like, we were newlyweds and we were still in college, and I was like, yeah, like, we're supposed to live in this tiny dark apartment and just like save all of our pennies and not have any fun. And like, this was the vision that I had. And I remember him being like, what? Like, where did you get that idea? And I just thought that was what we were supposed to do. And I was scared to spend money. And I just thought, like, once you spend it, it's gone. And like I just had this vision that we would just be misers for, I don't know how long. And then maybe in our 50s or something, we would like enjoy like our life and the fruits of our labors. And I remember like he wanted to take me to places like Disneyland and I thought, no, we should be camping and we should stay at the cheapest hotel. Like we will survive if there are bugs in this hotel. Like it'll be fine. And I would book these like motels and at one point he's like we're not doing this. Like we don't have to do this. We don't have to do it this way. And there was a part of me that really was like, I mean, that sounds kind of nice. Like, this is nice. Like, I remember he booked us a Holiday Inn and it was like, or the Holiday Inn Express. That's what it was. And that was like such a big upgrade and it was so nice. And he was like, see, isn't this so much better? And I was like, yeah, like it is. I mean, it's a lot better than what my plan was. But I just had that idea and I was always looking, like I was always thinking about the finances and like, well, if we spend that at Disneyland, then we're not going to have it for this other thing. So the best thing to do is just to save all of our money on these vacations and things. And gosh, then I learned how to relinquish control of the finances and really get in touch with this vision of being taken care of and not being the sole responsible one and just like letting go of some of these like efficiency mindsets. And like I remember doing this values quiz or something and it was like that was my top value was like efficiency. And this was all before the skills. So like now when I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like no wonder, like I just thought this was so valuable, this efficiency thing. And what makes my marriage irresistible now is that we're going on a 2-week trip to Disney World in a couple weeks. And my husband plans it all. And I just get to sit back and receive it. And we just got back from a dream trip to Switzerland, which has been on my vision board and my desires list since like before, like when we like for 20 years, I've been wanting to take this trip and it all just happened recently. And like I'm his Disney princess and I just get to receive it. And he just provides this life of ease for us and like orders food for me and helps with the kids. And like for the longest time, I just thought I had to be responsible for everything. And like he does way more than I do now, really, if I'm being honest. Like, and he spends so much time with our kids. And like before I was just like, I'm the mom, I'm the one responsible for like their nourishment and their care. And like, he does so much of it now. And I just had to relinquish control of bedtimes and the way I thought it was supposed to be and let some life lessons happen along the way. But the peace that I feel and like the relaxation that I feel is just exponential compared to how it was before. And like it sounds funny to me to say that I'm catching a glimpse of like what family life should be, where I feel like I get to have these relationships with my kids that are so connected. And it's like I'm just starting to see it now. Like I raised them from the time they were babies. Now I have some teenagers and we're connected. Like I know my kids love me and they seek me out. And like, I just had this moment of realization the other day that oh, like this is what it's all about. This is joy and life and family and love. And, it's just so magical and beautiful because of the skills that I have now.
Oh, Brenda, so moving, beautiful. I love you have an irresistible family now, don't just an irresistible marriage. And I love I relate to it so much. Like he booked us a Holiday Inn Express, like total upgrade. And and I just relate to the feeling like everything's got to be efficient. We have to be efficient. We have to save, which is scrimp. And I just hear him just wanting to give you the world. And now you have the world. Now you're the queen, you're the princess. You're the Disney princess who's going to Disney World for 2 weeks. So, and he planned the whole thing. So it sounds dreamy. And I give you all the credit for creating that. Renee is here. Renee.
Hey, yeah, I was, thinking about celebrating the ways that my marriage has become irresistible. And it was like literally the exact opposite of that, 15 months ago. It's like I was doing everything subconsciously that was pushing my husband in the very opposite direction of me. Like I was needy and complaining and wanting his attention and time, and just not realizing subconsciously that in being that efficient mother, not just to my 4 children, but towards my husband as well, super organizing him, super organizing the business and doing all of that. I didn't realize then that I was just pushing him away. Every time I'd said, why are you going to gym again? You've already been once today. Why can't we hang out? Well, I'd really like to have time together this weekend. I haven't got to see you because you've been working 60 hours a week. And just with those little comments, not realizing that the tone of my voice or the victim space that I was coming from, just the very nature of the way I was speaking the words, it wasn't that they were inherently wrong, because there was so much truth to them. I was missing my husband because he was working more than he was at home. And there is truth that the work-life balance was off. And he probably should have stayed home and had a hang with us instead of going to the gym again for a second or third workout in a day. So there was truth to all of that, and I'm not dismissing that, but the way that I was communicating that to my husband, if I look back now, had this very pushing energy. It was a really kind of abrasive or condescending or criticizing energy, and that was just pushing him away. Like it would literally be the very last thing that he would want to do at the end of the day. And I can remember my husband at one time saying to me, I really want to be able to want to do this, but right now it's a have to. I have to do this. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. I was like, how do I get him to want to be with me, not have to be with me? And I just was so clueless in this area. And it wasn't until I found the skills and I really started to look internally at the way that I was communicating and looking at this filing cabinet of resentment that I had from every little argument that we'd had, or every time, my feelings got hurt, and I just was keep storing it in this filing cabinet, right? And it wasn't until I started practicing the skills and really started changing my thinking and developing, spouse fulfilling prophecies, looking for evidence, really flipping the script, the stories that I had told myself for, the last 20 years of what was actually happening. And when I started to see that I was telling myself a whole bunch of lies, there were so many lies that I was telling myself. They were just simply mistruths. And when I flipped them with the help of, my coach at the time, and then would look for the evidence and I'd find the evidence, and then I would be telling myself, reassuring myself with these SFPs, and then expressing my SFPs to my husband instantaneously, within a week, within 2 weeks, I was like, what is happening? And I started to see a very different husband, but really the husband that had been there the whole time. And I thought there's magic here. There's something here. And the more I got on my own paper and the more I really just started dispelling those myths, I noticed that filing cabinet of resentment, I was literally pulling out those resentment files and replacing them with a good memory. And now I have to dig deep to remember back. And it's only been 15 months, but I really have to think about the way that we used to be, because it's just not my story anymore. It's not how I feel about him. You know, the romance is in full flight between, we're in the busiest time of our year right now in the building industry with running a business and, you know, having many employees. And this is a high pressure time of the year for us, but we are still having passionate kisses in the middle of the day, flirty texts, you know, like I rang him late yesterday. He was still stuck on a job, and I was just like, he's like, hello. And I was like, oh, hello. I'm just wondering if there's any tall, dark and handsome men around. And he's like, oh, are you speaking to me? And then something happened in the background. Something happened to the pump. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've got to go. Now, in the old days, that would have been an argument right there. I would have been like, I can't believe this. I'm making an effort towards him. And, you know, but I knew that he had to tend to that. Do you know, 30 seconds later, my phone rang and he's like, hello, are there any gorgeous women around that would like to talk to me? And I was like, hey. And he goes, I'm so sorry that I had to cut you off. I said, it's fine. I knew that you had something, but we're there. We're a team again. We're vibing with each other. We don't take it. I know he doesn't want to hurt me. I know that. Whereas before I thought he only wanted to hurt me. So the romance, the dancing, the skinny dips in the pool, it's all back. It's what I feel like I'm dating this man, and we've been together for 34 years, and we are dating each other again, and I love it. And I'm so grateful for these skills because they got me here. I needed to learn a new way, and it doesn't dismiss what his lessons are, but I can only worry about what I've got to learn. So that's where I'm focused these days. Thank you.
I love it, Renee. Yeah, it sounds like teenagers, which you guys were when
Yeah.
you met, right? So kind of back to that skinny dipping and
Yeah.
and how painful to have him say, I want to do this. It's like, ouch, right? Like awful. And I remember feeling the same way about John. Like he clearly didn't want to. He didn't say it, but it was very obvious he didn't want to. And it hurt a lot. And now something real that comes up but he calls you back in 30 seconds because he wanted to. He wants to be around. He wants his vitamin R. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he literally said, I don't ever want you to think that I've dismissed you. And I was like, oh, he doesn't want me to feel dismissed. I was like, so there you go. That just goes straight in that evidence file, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be overflowing pretty soon. The new evidence file. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
sweet story. Love it. Thank you so much. Great job. Shani is here. Shani, hello.
There are so many, but I had to remember one. And I remember I was new in coach training, I think, and I was in the car and we were driving, and I think the kids were being mean and talking badly or something to me, and my husband didn't do anything about it. And I was, I think, of course, on self-care now, looking back, but in that moment, we were driving back from the beach to the city, and it was a 4-hour drive, and the kids were rowdy, and he wasn't doing anything. And I lost it, and I punched him in the arm. I was a co-pilot, so I punched him. I don't know, maybe it was like a big punch or maybe 2 punches. I was so angry, so frustrated, and he just reacted. He punched me back, and his punches were bigger, stronger, and he wasn't just one. It was like 3 or 4. I was in shock. I was like, oh my gosh. And the whole way we went back 4 hours, I was in silence, in shock, saying, this can't go on like this. I can't live this life any longer. And I was skilled, so I knew I had started the first punch because he didn't listen or whatever it was. He didn't listen. He wasn't protecting me. He wasn't being the dad I wanted him to be, and he just defended himself. And but I was in shock because those punches were heavy, and I could feel them in my arm, and I was like, no words were coming out. And I realized that it needed. Of course, I needed to do something differently. And I promised right then and there that I didn't want to take my anger out in like bodily harm, like punches. I didn't want to do that anymore. We're now, we got on the car and I'm minding my own business, and my husband is looking for my hand because he wants to hold my hand when we're driving. And I remember the kids were being very rowdy and talking badly about me or to me. And he's screaming. He said, "Boys, you don't disrespect my wife. Like, not your mom, my wife. You don't talk badly about my wife." And I was smiling. I had this huge smile on my face. I was feeling very giddy. There was nothing for me to fix, nothing for me to control. And I don't think I expressed gratitude then, maybe later, but I was so happy that this has changed so much that now he's my biggest protector, and he makes my and my boys' relationship better by I don't know, he has a thing with the boy. Well, they're men, so he has a thing with the boys, and he's like, "Yeah, you don't talk to my wife that way." And so the boys are laughing. It's not even he's not even scolding them. The boys are laughing, and the atmosphere in the car is so beautiful because he's been my hero, and I'm feeling very loved and protected now. No punches, no, none of that happens ever again. Yeah.
What a contrast between you being so frustrated because he won't control the boys, and to now he initiates that conversation. And I also and you feel so like the queen who's just protected, so esteemed in the car. And I just love the part about how he does it. It doesn't even cause a conflict with the boys. Like he just does it in his man way somehow. And they're laughing, but they're also respecting you more as a result of him bringing that forth. Yeah. And so, and you're holding hands instead of punching each other. So yeah, what a difference. I love it. And the way you got there, was like just like that there was nothing for you to control, is what you said. Like you were just relinquishing control of the whole thing, and then it just all kind of happened for you, like
Yes.
magic, pretty much.
Like magic.
Like magic.
Yeah, create the space for him to be my hero.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. He sounds very, very heroic. Great story, Shitty. I love it. Thank you. Catherine is here. Hello, Catherine.
Hi, this is so wonderful. So invigorated by these amazing stories, and I've been so reminded about the marriage experience that I had before. Finding the skills, I relate to so much of what everyone's shared, and I had my third child was quite small, and I can just remember every single night was always the same, and I would be walking through the house, tidying everything up, having done all of the cooking and cleaning and bedtimes and washing and sorting and finding library books and checking calendars for the next day. And my husband was working, and it was 10 o'clock at night, and I was just walking through thinking every day, all day, it's all on me. How did my life turn into this? I could never have anything for myself. Like I just felt so exhausted and full of resentment. Like every sock on the floor, everything just was like, ugh. It was just all talking to me and telling me the same miserable story about being trapped. And I was just felt like I was just full on martyr. Like it was just all I knew and all I thought I could ever know. And I desperately wanted more from my husband, more partnership and involvement. and more family time. Like I was doing all of this, like slaving away, doing all of this for my children to have a happy family life where everyone was well taken care of and thriving and peaceful. And so I tried to create family times and had all these visions of how it would go. And within, 5 minutes of having all of us together and my husband taking some time off work, which was always felt like trying to get him to come out of his office or come home from work. And like within 5 minutes of us all being together, he would do something or say something that was just so horrendous. Like he would give the kids candy or something, or he would have them compete against each other, or he'd be really critical or harsh, or he would just say something like give them a screen, or it was like you just everything. Oh, I was so strict with all these things, and it was just there's one right way to do everything, and he wasn't doing it. So every time we had family time together was tense and stressful, and I just felt like we could never get on the same page and just be happy and have the playful times, because just didn't spend enough time parenting or contributing or being sensitive to the household to be able to do it properly. It's like disengaged. And then when he did it, was there wrong. And I don't know why. You'd probably be so surprised, but my kids were stressed. At the time, I was like, oh, everyone's so stressed. Where is this coming from? Looking back, it's so obvious now. But I would also like try to get time together as a couple, and we did values exercises and courses and all this, trying to extract time and connection and just chase this family life. And it was so elusive. And then I found the skills finally in all my searching. At least I was so committed and driven to finding the answer. I eventually hit on it after so many failed attempts, and finally got a mirror and saw my reflection and saw how contagious my energy is and how repelling my thoughts were, like not only to me, but to everyone that was coming in contact with my energy when I'm in those thought patterns of all the ways that I'd been, and just the way that I had been so controlling and so disrespectful of my husband in front of my kids without even realizing it. So now it's been 6 years, 5.5 years practicing these skills, and my marriage and family life could not be more different. And just in the last couple of weeks, my husband, he takes me out on date nights because he's arranged like care in our home that he's found, vetted. She's amazing. He just does an incredible amount looking after our kids. He does just as much, often more than me. He is an amazing, amazing dad. Gets them ready for school in the morning. He found my son's angel outfit for the nativity play this morning and had him all dressed, and they were practicing the lines, and he's so engaged. And he takes me out on dates, and like he arranges them and finds like my favorite self-care is going to this bathhouse that's on the top of city buildings. And it's like such a date night, like it's like such a date place. Like it's full of like young couples who are dating and like, young and in love. And then there's us, and like it is so fun because we are just as in love and dating as everyone else, but no one knows we have 4 kids at home, and we've this crazy busy life, and we just sit in the hot tubs and saunas and just can't get enough of each other. And he makes it all happen. He says, right, 5 p.m, be here. Like everything's taken care of. He's arranged what the dinner is going to be at home. He's got the babysitter sorted. Everything's there. It's like you just get an Uber and just arrive at this time. And it's really like being wooed and dated. It's just so amazing in the midst of a busy family life to be treated in this way. And the family times that we have are just incredible. My daughter has written a screenplay just the last few weeks about, like, with our family, everyone in the family is involved in this screenplay and it's just a happy scene of our life and everyone's characters. And my husband is so thrilled with it, and he called us all into the family. Actually, it was in our bedroom. We were all on our bed together with printouts of this screenplay and practicing the lines. And he's so he's leading it all, and being so encouraging of my daughter's creativity. And it's so amazing to just watch her pride in our family life, and that it's just so real. And like, it's in her screenplay. Like, she's so connected. There's so much peace. There's so much playfulness, and it's really like a movie. She's making a movie of what we have, and it could not be more different. And for my birthday this year, she wrote this beautiful story with the help of AI. This incredible story of a scene from our family life, and it was just everyone's personalities were captured. And she read it to me as my husband was driving us into town, taking me out for lunch for my birthday, wearing an outfit that he'd taken my son shopping for him to choose for my birthday present. And she was just reading this hilarious story with fart jokes and our youngest daughter being cute and hilarious. And anyway, it was just so like, oh, pinch me. How did this happen? How did I get so lucky? This is everything I always dreamed of, and just could not. I was turning myself inside out trying to create, and it was pushing it away every time. And I let go. Sorry. And no worries. Yeah. And let my husband step forward and become the great man that he is. Just an incredible dad. He couldn't breathe before, couldn't breathe. And now he just is standing tall. It's just so magical. Thank you.
So magical. Amazing. I especially love the part where your kids were stressed out and you had no idea why. And that when he would spend time with you guys, it'd be 5 minutes before he'd like give him candy or a screen or set up a competition or something. And it was just all wrong. And you kind of marching through the house at 10 o'clock at night, like putting things where they belong, and getting the calendar figured out, because it was all on you. And now you spend your evenings at a bathhouse on a roof with other young couples in love. And in your family life is dreamy. Like, it does sound like a movie. I worry that your daughter's screenplays will not have much conflict in them, is the only thing, right? They won't have I don't know where she's going to get that now, because it doesn't sound like you have it at your house anymore. So what a transformation. It's amazing. I love hearing about that. Beautiful.
Thanks, Laura. It's such an honor to be able to, it's so joyful to be able to share it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a joy to be able to hear it too. It just reminds me of what Brenda was saying, like, oh, so this is family life. This is what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Love it.
It made me cry so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Great story. Rushi's here. Hello, Rushi.
Hi, Laura. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Before the skills, I didn't really know, expressing desires was almost trained out of me. And so it was always about complaining about what we didn't have, or what we weren't doing as a family, as a couple. And so whenever it came to traveling, or like my desire to travel, I would complain about how we don't travel enough, or it was not a fun way to express that I wanted to get out, get a break. And then if we were going somewhere, I would have to be all up in the planning, like, where are we staying? What are we doing? What are we bringing with us? And I was always nagging about things, making sure like, let's not forget this, let's not forget that. And it wasn't very fun. And actually, it became stressful when we used to travel, especially once the kids were in the picture. It was even more stressful for me as a mom. What do I need to bring for them? Make sure they have their snacks, um, and then just even anything like being able to express something that I want. And if he shot it down for whatever reason, then I would nag about it or complain or cry or just manipulate my way into getting the things I wanted. And so it wasn't very connecting. And it often caused friction between us. Um, and I didn't understand. And in my mind, it was like, oh, he doesn't want to make me happy. He doesn't care about what I want. Um, and those were the things I would tell myself. And so it was disappointing. It was frustrating. And I always asked myself, like, am I ever going to get the things I want? Am I ever going to be happy? Am I ever going to get to do these things? But thanks, thanks to finding the skills and learning that my complaints weren't going to get me the connection or intimacy or the outcomes that I wanted, and figuring out what it is that I really want and being able to express that um, has really, really transformed how we travel now, or how I express things and how things show up in the mail. Or so it's really incredible. Just learning to relinquish control, express my desire, and then trust that he wants to make me happy. See that he knows how to um, fulfill my desires when he feels ready to do them in his best way. So fast forward to this year. So we hadn't gone anywhere this year. It had been a really busy year, and we both wanted a break. And I just expressed, like, I would love to get away for Thanksgiving break, and kind of left that. And he did the research. He's like, oh, it would be cool if we went to Joshua Tree. And I didn't get involved in any planning. I had no idea where we were staying, what we were doing when we got there. I didn't think about what food or snacks to bring with me. I just completely relinquished control. And when what was amazing about this was I had no anxiety about any of it. I just completely trusted him. When we showed up at the hotel, I got to pour on so much gratitude because the place was amazing. It was beautiful. Um, the room had enough, like plenty of space. I had some work to do during the trip, so I had to bring my laptops. I had enough space to set stuff up, and he took care of our breakfast plans. I mean, it was just, and what we were going to do at the park. And I just received everything. And we had such an amazing time in nature as a family. We connected with the kids, and it was beautiful. And since then, like coming back, I had expressed a desire for a new Christmas tree a while back, and he like looked one up on, Black Friday deal. He sent me some ideas. I said, whatever you think, and it's coming in the mail today. So it's just, I'm loving that, like, my desires, like, don't add any stress to me. I don't have to control. I don't have to um, kind of force my way into getting these things. And I'm just expressing, and they happen. And then there was one, like, I expressed a desire. I want lights on our house for Christmas. And um, he looked into that, and then he didn't, this year isn't going to work. And he shared that with me. And what was amazing was my mind shift. In the past, I would have said, like, oh, but it looks so pretty or whatever. I would have tried to get him to do it. And instead I was able to say, oh, I hear you. I'm just so excited that you even looked into these and looked at what was possible for our house this year. And I could see, like, the pressure go off his face when I responded that way. And I don't think I would have been able to show up this way if it weren't for the skills in this community. And so I just love it. There's so much connection. There's so much lightness between us around the holidays now and travel. And it's all thanks to you and these skills. So
That's awesome, Rishi. I love the before. I relate to you so much too. Like, if there was going to be a trip, like, you'd have to be involved. Like, where are we going to stay, and how's this going to work, and what are we bringing, and what about everything? What about all these little details? And now you're just like expressing your desires, and there's just such a place of you're doing it from such a place of gratitude, like a generous spirit. And then you show up in this hotel in Joshua Tree where he's planned everything, and you love it. It's awesome. It's a wonderful place. So he was like he had your best. He had in mind how to make you Rishi happy. He knows what
Yeah.
you like, just
Yes.
like Sage was saying. He knows what you like, right? So, and then with this, I love this story with the lights too, and I can relate to that so much too. Like, oh, I would love lights on our house, and it's like not just a desire; it's like a demand. Like I would have a demand about it, but you didn't. You just had a desire, and because it was you're just holding it lightly, and he looked into it. You're like, oh, thank you so much for looking into it, like. And then you could see the pressure leaving his face. And then the intimacy and the connection was strong. And I mean, I bet a lot of money you're getting lights next year, right? Because that is his priority, and it can be more clear. So, but you've prioritized the intimacy and your own happiness is like it's like so easy to find because you're doing it this way. So, what a
Yeah.
great example of how to get what you want. Like have a great marriage and also have all your desires fulfilled by just holding them loosely like that. I
Yeah.
love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and what's amazing about this is I used to be afraid to express desires because I was worried he was going to shoot them down, and that used to happen in frequently in the past. But now because I don't have an insistence behind them, and I can show up lightly, just expressing what would make me happy and release them, there isn't that resistance that I see because I see all the ways that he is making other desires come true. So I'm not holding on to this one so tightly that I can just release it and there's no pressure on him and I can show up with gratitude. So
Yeah. And that's a big dynamic to shift because before you probably felt like I'm never getting anything I want because you weren't expressing it. And if you did, there was this defense coming up. So it's like, how do you bust out of that? But you did it. And yeah, you're on the other side. So great story. Very
thank
inspiring.
you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rishi. Love it. DeVary is here.
Oh, thanks, Laura. This past summer, my husband and I, we celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary, and we both independently shared with each other that I think we're in the best phase of our 30 years of marriage. And it was not like we didn't have a good marriage. We had a pretty good marriage, but somewhere along the line, we started to feel this, we're drifting apart. And I don't know about him, but I was feeling like we're losing the spark in our marriage. And it was just painful for me. And I know nothing happens overnight. So obviously it was some kind of a trickling effort over the time. But I realized it after 25 years that, oh my gosh, you really know what? I'm not happy. And my modern thinking started surfacing up a lot. And I just thought it's him. It has to be him because I'm not happy. He's supposed to make me happy. And I would just had a lot of stories of where he's not doing right. And like you, Laura, I also felt like I was in this net. I had to be the responsible parent. I had to take control of things, because if I don't, then who's going to? And I really think that I was just on everybody's papers, my husband's paper, my kids' papers. Anyways, I tried when taking him for counseling and it just didn't work. And good thing it didn't last too long. And I had expressed a desire, which of course, not the way we're supposed to. But anyways, what I knew back then, I said, I really want to go for this retreat. It was a marriage retreat for couples where, it's supposed to be really good. And I told him I'm just not happy and we have to go to this. And he just didn't seem for it. And even when he said, okay, it just seemed like he just saying it. And I was not happy about that either. Anyway, so I thought, okay, I guess this is what happens. When we get older or we've been married for so many years, this is what happens. But it just wasn't a settling feeling for me because I really longed that emotional connection with him. I really wanted it. And of course, then I found you and I found your book and I joined coach training and wow, I like right when I read the book, I realized what was really missing is that I was becoming disrespectful. And it's interesting that it's always been taught to me that respect is important. But I guess I was never taught what respect actually looks like. And what I was also not taught to me that, hey, you're an important part in this marriage. You better take care of yourself properly. I just did not have that. And what I had learned that, oh, it's all about the husband. It's all about the kids. A good wife is supposed to sacrifice and for the kids, for the husband. And, your desires are not as important. And just letting go, that's what makes you a good wife, a good mom. And that's what I kept doing. And so, of course, I recognized the disrespect, but I recognized the reason I was feeling disrespectful or showing up disrespectful is because I wasn't taking care of me. It was really me. I was not taking care of me. I was not giving enough attention to my desires. And I was kind of sort of holding him responsible that he's not fulfilling my desires, not recognizing that I'm not even expressing them properly or have so many expectations around it. And then that's what changed. I started to really pay attention to me. I started to express my desires. I started to have really good opinion of him. And I realized that a lot of the things that I was telling in my head was all the stories. Those are negative stories, but they were not true. They really were not true. And I realized that while he was trying to be my hero, I was making him the villain in my story. And of course, it was not going well because of that. And just within 3 months of me just starting to practice the skills, genuinely, I felt like, yay, I got my spark back. And I just felt so happy. And in the past 2 years, things are only getting better and better every day. And I just feel like our playfulness is back too. And I was just sharing this earlier today that as a kid, when I was in grade school, I used to laugh a lot. And my friends had a nickname for me calling laughing gas, because once I started laughing, I had a hard time controlling my laughter. And that went missing and it came back. It came back over a year ago. And now my husband and I, we just like laugh, like I laugh, like just something triggers and I just laugh. And especially for whatever reason, before we go to sleep, that's when I get into this laughing thing. And he's like, wow, what's wrong with you? I said, I don't know. I'm just happy. I guess I'm just laughing. And then we both start laughing. And it's just so nice. It's nice to just be laughing with him. And he has told me a few times that my goal in life is just to make you happy. And I never believed when you said that, Laura, in your book. I'm like, no, I don't think it's that for me. And lastly, I want to finish it with, like sometimes when he works from home, like today, he's working from home, but he somehow finds time to he seeks me out. He wants to spend time with me. So in the morning, I was on the storytelling and I wanted to raise my hand, but then I lowered it. And he came looking for me and he said, how long before you get off the call? I said, oh, do you need something? He said, oh, I just need my vitamin J. I'm like, okay. So I got off the call and he said, okay, thank you. Let's go cuddle on the couch. And so that's what we did. So that's what it's like now, Laura. And I just get so emotional thinking, I don't know, what if I never found you? But anyways, I'm here. I'm just so grateful to you that we are in the best part of our 30-year marriage. And I just want to continue to grow and make it stronger. So thank you so much.
Beautiful, Tiberia. So moving. And I love that he was looking for his vitamin J. He's just like, where are you? Because I just you're irresistible. I can't be away from you. And I find it so insightful what you said about I was making him the villain when he was trying to be my hero, and of course it wasn't working. And also I also just loved your accountability, along with like you just didn't know how to. No one ever showed you how to be respectful, even though you knew you were supposed to be. And I just related to that so much too. Like how do you? And no one told you like first you take care of yourself, like, or that wasn't what was modeled, right? Maybe like you learned like sacrifice. It's sacrifice that you have that makes you a good wife. And then to show up at your anniversary, and after 30 years, you both are saying, "This is the best it's ever been." That's everybody wants that, Juveria. So, congratulations on creating that. It sounds magical.
Thank you.
Isn't that incredible? These are real women who were in painful marriages with no idea how to make things better. And now they have marriages that are not just fixed, but irresistible. And all they used were the 6 intimacy skills. So here's what I want to ask you as we start this new year. What does an irresistible marriage look like for you? Maybe it's feeling pursued and desired again. Maybe it's having a partner who really sees you and supports your dreams. Maybe it's laughing together again, like you used to, or having those late night conversations where you really connect. Maybe it's passionate sex. Maybe it's all of the above. Whatever it is, get specific. Get in touch with your desires and your vision, because that's the first step to making your marriage irresistible. Every month, I have the privilege of having these conversations with my team of coaches from all over the world. They share their stories, their breakthroughs, their challenges, and I just love these calls. They fill me up to overflowing. These women keep my marriage shiny and amazing, and I don't say that lightly. If you're inspired by these stories and a tiny part of you is wondering what it would be like to join us, you can click on the link in the description to find out more about becoming a coach. I would absolutely love to welcome you to our tribe. Now, you might be thinking, Laura, my marriage feels entirely irresistible at the moment. That is completely okay. So many women come into relationship coach certification feeling that way, including many of the women you just heard. They used the 6 intimacy skills to transform their own marriages first, and then they became part of our community of coaches who are changing the world one marriage at a time. If they could go from completely resistible to irresistible, then why not you too? I'd love to hear from you. What does an irresistible marriage look like to you? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. For more of the proven secrets on how to make your marriage playful and passionate without his conscious effort, check this out.